Hey, what's up, YouTube? Red and Bordy here. Today on our lore series, we are going to cover Averhams Research. And you're asking, what does that mean? And Bordy's about ready to tell you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this page, and then we'll discuss what this thing's about. All right. So page number 1, it is found in Windsward Settlement, and here it is. This is from the viewpoint of someone speaking to a guy named Robert. So it says, Robert, our exploration continues, though we are no closer to finding the cause of these corrupted areas. No logical progression, no determinable cause for our location or location or spread. It's baffling. And while the scientist in me is thrilled at this challenge, the settler in me is terrified. The only points that seem truly safe are the protected areas of the settlements. Whatever energy is present there is enough to prevent those corruption points from forming. Ooh. Our team has reached the northern edge of the Great Cleave, and we are now down to 12 members of the original 19. If we lose too many more, we may be forced to turn back, which may work out for the best. I think everyone would like to return to the safety of the South. For now, we will continue our research. Our current task is checking soil samples between locations to determine if there's any variance in composition, quantity of Azoth. You may wish to do the same in your own area. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Perhaps you'll buy me a drink on my return. Signed, Sarah Averham. So, Red, I want to point out, first of all, the last half of the first paragraph here, the last sentence in the first paragraph here that says the only points that seem truly safe are the protected areas of the settlements, and whatever energy is present there is enough to prevent those corruption points from forming. So now we get a hint at why the settlements are safe within New World, because that's kind of always been a question of mine is like, why aren't there mobs that come into the settlements? What protects the settlements other than the walls, of course? Obviously there's walls and gates around the settlements, but that still doesn't prevent like corrupted portals from spawning in there, because they seem to be just spawning all over Aeternum. Well, now we know that there's some energy present at the settlements that's protecting them. So either there's a large concentration of Azoth under the ground that's protecting the settlements, or maybe there's no Azoth there at all. But what's your take there, man? What do you think is protecting the settlements in Aeternum?
So one of the things that I think is possible, I remember back to the preview events and these weird looking shrines, almost of ancient technology. Maybe that is some source of Azoth or some sort of power that like kind of, wards off any corrupted forces from coming inside of the territory. In my mind, that makes more sense. Like you said, the latter option with there being some sort of Azoth deposit or something there. Maybe that has something to do also why you can fast travel to these territories is because of the concentration of Azoth there, allowing you, obviously I think we kind of know that Azoth is responsible for your character respawning over and over again, being able to die and come back. So maybe that is also why you can teleport to territories as well.
Yeah, maybe so. And all of those little things you're talking about do glow. They have a glow to them, a blue glow that comes up through the middle. So that's pretty interesting. Maybe so. Maybe those things are tied to it somehow. So the next point here that I wanted to kind of talk about is it says, for now, we'll continue our research, and their current task is checking soil samples between locations to determine if there's any variance in composition or quantity of Azoth. So what they're talking about here is they're checking soil samples to see if Azoth is present in the areas that the corruption forms. They're talking about the corrupted portals that form all around Aeternum, or just there are just simply some corrupted areas that are within Aeternum as well. So they're just trying to figure out where the corruption is and why. And so they think it's tied to something in the soil, which would obviously be Azoth. So they think that maybe it is the concentration of Azoth in that area or the lack thereof, and that's what they're testing. So what's your take there, Red? Do you think it's because there's a lot of Azoth in that area or none at all? And we do know, by the way, that Azoth runs through the ground in Aeternum, because that was released a long time ago in one of their earlier developer diaries. So there is Azoth like flowing through Aeternum. Obviously, there's different concentrations of it, and that may be what's causing this. So what's your take there, man?
I definitely think that it's the lack of it, because here's my theory is Azoth and the corruption are polar opposites of the spectrum of good and evil, or whatever you want to call it, where Azoth is the source of eternal life, or therefore something close to it, and corruption is obviously that thing that wants to come and destroy that source. You know, they seem to be in direct opposite or opposition. You know, one of the things that's interesting to me, Bordy, is the Shattered Mountain. I think it kind of ties into this a little bit too, and how, you know, that thing is surrounded by corruption. Basically, you know, we know that that Shattered Mountain zone is just full of corruption, and even the 2 zones underneath it are like, you know, basically scheming with corrupted forces. So I think that has something to do with it as well, Bordy. The Shattered Mountain must be some source of Azoth for them to be, you know, patrolling that area so frequently.
Yeah, maybe so. I think you might be onto something there too, because it says here in this diary in Averhams Research, the first page, it says our team has reached the northern edge of the Great Cleave, which is right underneath the Shattered Mountain. So they're up there because that is a great source of corruption up there. And so what's causing that, we don't yet know. But it's a pretty interesting thing to ponder on. But what gets me is why, if there is a large concentration of Azoth under the settlements, we also know that some of the ancient places have some Azoth there too that kind of controls their technology, kind of like we talked about on our last lore episode with the Shattered Obelisk. So why are there ancients that spawn there and not in the settlements? There has to be some sort of alternate technology between the two, something going on there that I would love to dig into more at some point. But I think that's about it for the first page, man. If you want to go ahead and read the second page, there's a little bit of interest in the second page too, not quite as much as the first page, but take it away, man.
All right, so here's the second one. Sarah, it pleases me to know your expedition is going well, though I mourn your losses. I would have loved to join you, but my duties here, while menial at times, are important to the settlement. Perhaps if another were to take my place, I would be free to do so, but my standards are high, you know, and I've yet to find anyone who can measure up to the task. I shall take on your recommendations regarding the soil. There is skilled newcomers to the area who have been able to handle my requests with ease, and I may present them with this new one the next time I spot them in town. I have full confidence that they are more than capable of gathering soil samples from some of the nearby locations and to handle whatever Cretans are currently in residence there. And yes, of course, I shall buy you a drink of your choice upon your return. I do miss our discussions and have a knack for deciphering even the toughest puzzles. I shall find a suitable one for you, don't you worry. Robert Cathorin, or Cawthorn? I have no idea what that word is.
I think it's Cawthorn.
Dude, he obviously, you know, I think she's referring to the player, or he's referring to the player, having some capable people to go gather soil samples. So obviously we'll be involved here, dude. It seems like in some point of the story or any of the quests in the game, we'll be able to figure out what the answer to this question is, Bordy. If Azoth is directly related to corruption, or are they in opposition, or all of those questions we have about Azoth.
Yeah, it sure seems that way, and it also seems like that it is directly tied to the soil and the Azoth in the soil, because they were wondering in the first passage there, the first part of this lore page, they were wondering if it was the Azoth, and that's why I started taking soil samples. Well, this kind of reiterates that fact, and it says that he is going to now take soil samples too, because they think that is the case here. So it has to do with the Azoth running underneath the ground. So we know that much, and my best guess is that the concentrations of Azoth are not as much or not as dense in those areas, or maybe none at all, and that's when the corruption can form. So they pick those weak spots in Aeternum to pop up. So that's what it sounds like to me after reading through this entire thing. That seems to be the connection between Azoth and the corrupted portals. That's my best guess, man.
Yeah, and we'll, you know, it kind of remains to be seen, Bordy, because I still, as confident as I am about my answer, I still think it's possible for it to be the opposite. That
it is.
That Azoth is directly related to the corruption, and it turns out that this source of eternal life isn't a good thing. It's actually a very bad thing, and maybe it was left to be undiscovered until you know, settlers like us arrived to Aeternum.
Yeah, it's very possible, man, that it could be that way, but hopefully we'll find out soon. And this is only our second lore episode to do. So as we start uncovering more of the lore and digging through more of these lore pages, hopefully we'll find some more answers there, some hidden answers or something that at least hints towards some of this stuff. So it's very interesting to go through this stuff, man. I'm enjoying it thoroughly, Red.
Yeah, same. And I look forward to getting through all of it, honestly. Hopefully we have time.
Yeah.
If you guys enjoy these lore episodes, don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let us know what you'd like to see in our next episode or episodes in the future. We thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate your guys' support. And don't forget to hit that subscription button, the notification bell for more New World content like this. And we'll see you in the next video.